Fantasy Football Tips Podcast with Mills, JP, Quigliano, and Cliff.
Hi, you're listening to FantasyFootballTips.co, the podcast in association with Premier Punt, the home of daily fantasy football betting. That's right, I do say that every single week, but this week it's game week 9. My name's Mills, and I'm joined on a Skype call by the coffer there, Quigliano.
Welcome back, Quigliano. I thought I'd welcome myself back to the show.
Thank you. And, yes, certainly welcome, Quigliano. It's been a while since we've had you on. Just me and thee tonight.
We've gone old school.
I feel like I've gone very old school. I'm on some crazy little setup here. I feel like I'm on a tin pot radio. It's a dreadful sound connection for me, but I think it will sound okay to the listeners. I mean, if you could see what I look like, it's crazy. I almost feel like, you know, when you're a kid and you put sort of two plastic cups together and tie them with a piece of string. That's how it sounds to me.
What a shame there was no one else to just be on the other end of that cup, mate. What a sad existence. You couldn't just have someone talking, at least a friend or even just a family member.
It certainly was, yeah.
Probably why you're now doing your own podcast. That sort of life leads down this path.
It certainly does. I mean, it takes a very special kind of person. How's the world of Quigliano been?
It's been... Well, I've obviously been away, so I've missed the podcast. I've missed my number one fan, actually.
You have
Sushan. That's not myself, by the way. My number one fan isn't myself. It's Sushan, one of the many followers.
I mean, and a man that loves a GIF. Let's be honest. I mean, if you're following us on Twitter at FPL_the source, he's all over it. I mean, he's got a GIF for every occasion. I think I tweeted earlier.
He's got the gif of the gab.
He has got the gif of the gab. I mean, he's just, and he loves a God inspired gif. That's for sure.
Well, on that theme, I will say, and he's dropped a few places. He was 700th in the world, and he's dropped down now to I think just at the sort of higher end of the top 10,000. So I'll say to you, Sushan, don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. And I'm plagiarising Jesus Christ there, but, you know, it's similar. There's a link. There's a clear link to fantasy football and Quigliano. So don't be disheartened. Trust in God, but trust also in me. So we're going to sort you out tonight. It's all going to be okay.
Okay, I think that's Matthew verse 10, is it? Okay, so it's good to see the ego still there anyway, Quigliano. I mean, are you a person that, I know you don't listen to the podcast necessarily when you're on it, but when you're not on it, do you ever tune in? Do you ever have a little listen?
Do you want the honest answer? Or
I absolutely want the honest answer.
I mean, no, I'm not going to. I am not going to give up my time to listen to JP.
Oh, brilliant.
Or that stumbling, mumbling, bumbling Calamity Cliff. I just can't do it to myself.
I mean, I will say, Cliff has had a little bit of... he's gained a little bit of a following. I mean, someone called him the legend that was Cliff last week when he wasn't on. Although, you alluded to it there, my favourite, and this was the tweet of the week for me, was someone tweeted in. In fact, it might have been Sushan again, I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure, it might have been someone else. But anyway... calling JP, but spelled Jay space P as in the vegetable.
Well, he is a vegetable, and his head is a similar shape to that of a round spherical. Am I saying that right? Spherical pea. A very green little round head that could quite easily be mushed. So. Okay. Yeah, I think he's called him out justly.
Okay, we're going to get on to some tips in a minute, but I've just got to make a link there. We have got a question from Matt Smith that we're going to ask later on in the show, and I want you to have a think about this one, Quigliano. Is which footy players do we all most resemble looks-wise? So I don't want you to answer that yet. I want you to just bear that in mind for later on in the show, and we will be discussing that. Now, unfortunately, you know, JP... and Cliff are not here to defend themselves, so you've got free reign with that. But we will come on to that a little bit later on. For now, Quigliano, you are back, so the fans are probably desperately waiting on your every word with the Gary of the Week.
The Gary of the Week. Now, this for me, this was looked at earlier on in the weeks, looking at those fixtures, thinking who's going to be captain, potential, who am I looking at? And the fixture stands out, and it's Alexis Sanchez. He is where the points are at. Now, the people might be shaking their heads, going, he's ignoring Walcott. Think about the form that he's in. I'm looking for class. I'm looking for quality from a guaranteed performer. Okay, we're talking about Gary Busey Award here. Gary of the week, and it's Alexis Sanchez. Walcott is clearly not clinical. He is in good form, and I did say that my aim this season is to jump on the bandwagon a lot earlier, and I may be jumping on the Walcott bandwagon myself, breaking rules, doubling up in midfield. However, if you're going to make your captain choice, and if you're going to guarantee some points, Sanchez is your man.
Yep, and again, that home fixture against Middlesbrough, I think they've tightened up a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but before that there were leaking goals, and they're not in the best run at the moment. So I think that's a pretty good shout. I do. We'll come on to Walcott a little bit later on as well if you're not going to bring him up in the side tips. But let's move on. You may well do. So let's go to the Xabi.
So the Xabi, and I saw you catch a bit of heat on Twitter, and I think through private messages for being too obvious with your tips. So this one, it's a long shot, sticking my neck out. I think Sigurdsson is about to become a player that we can invest a bit of hope back into. Okay, they've got a decent fixture against Watford. I'm still not 100% convinced by them as a team. And I think Siggy, new manager, new life, getting further forward underneath him, I think he's going to be the man for the job.
Okay, yeah, again, scored last week again, didn't he, in Bob Bradley's first game. So it's a decent shout, and I do like the home fixture against Watford there. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Swansea win that. And then they do go away to Stoke, and the jury's kind of still out. I mean, Stoke seem to have turned the corner a little bit, but we'll sort of have to wait and see on that one. So I like that. Where's your Delia thoughts this week?
My Delia this week, and this is something it's bittersweet for me. We had somebody in the league, a normal sort of low performer, low ranking person who's had an okay start. He finds himself top of the league at the minute and decided to blow his load and play his triple captain on Aguero.
I mean,
and that penalty miss was a nice little -3 by the time it had been timed as a triple captain. So my point is, it's penalty takers. Where the hell are you? Because although I had that Aguero miss, he wasn't my captain. So I was laughing my head off at the lad that had triple captained Aguero. But I also had Benteke in there who missed one. So that was a dagger in the heart. But then we've also got players like KDB missing him. I've already had a Sanchez penalty miss when he could have had a hat-trick as captain. So I'm calling out penalty takers. You're on there. You're in some teams for that very reason. Step up. Do your job, put the ball in the back of the net.
Absolutely. I mean, Aguero, I believe he missed one for Argentina in the week as well. So, and he's missed one earlier this season. So it's not a good record. I mean,
did he miss 2 in the Champions League as well?
Yeah, he did. That was the game where he scored a hat trick, which is just unreal. He potentially could have had 5. So he's certainly not proven himself. I mean, I would almost be worried now as an Aguero owner when he steps up to take a penalty. If you've captained him, surely he's got to leave that to someone else now. He's just having such a bad time of it.
Thoughts on an early triple captain on not a double game week?
I mean,
what are your thoughts on that?
It's just unbelievable. And again, I also think just crazy to play it in the first week of the month. Because, and I know we're not the only ones that play the mini league format. Lots of people play the manager of the month. Surely you save your triple captain if you're going to play it for the last week of the month when you know you're in with a chance of winning the month. To play it in the first week is just ludicrous to me.
I mean, yeah. I think if anyone has played their triple captain or their bench boost in your mini leagues, just relax. Because for me now, not for me, no. For me,
for me
now,
nice.
That player is irrelevant because at some point there's going to be double game week where we're going to be dropping triple captains and whatever the points gap is going to be clawed back. So, they've blown it. The lesser managers have blown it. And I want that message to be understood and heard. And I will await feedback from this. But you've blown it.
You've blown it. Okay. We'll be back straight after this with the side tips.
You're listening to the all-new FantasyFootballTips.co podcast. In partnership with PremierPunt.com, the home of fantasy football betting.
Okay, Quigliano, we're back, and I want to go straight in with your side tips. Where are you thinking this week?
Well, I mean, we've got a little hazard, not Edin, sorry, but we've got a little hazard in the fact that there's Champions League games on, so there's potentially room for injuries. But these side tips at 8:15 on the 18th of the 10th, 2016,
which is a Tuesday.
Accurate.
Yeah,
which is a Tuesday. Okay.
Also, just to throw in there, Europa League as well with Man United and Southampton this week. So don't forget that one, like I almost did.
Who could forget that?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going where the goals are at the minute. Okay, so Dele Alli. I think the Spurs team they're solid. I think you've got to be picking players that you know are going to play. I think Ali ticks that box probably slightly more than Eriksen or Lamela does. So I think he's got to be in your team. I've just read on BBC Sport now he's just missed a sitter. But Dele Alli, first side tip, get him in your team. Decent fixture against Bournemouth. I think both teams will be going for that. Quite attacking, open game. They did score 6 the other day, but which gives them more encouragement to go and attack Spurs, which frees up more room for an open game.
Yeah, possibly missing Alderweireld as well, Spurs. So that could be a big blow to them because they're defensively they've generally been pretty good this season. So
Correct.
Again,
Correct.
I like the thinking of an open game there. That's good to kind of look forward to. Moving on.
Moving on, I'm going Walcott. Okay, he could have been Gary of the week. I think you've got to jump on the bandwagons early, and he is in a purple patch. So I think he's ignore him at your peril. Most of your team, your sort of competition in your leagues have probably stuck him in there now. Price is going up. Get in early. It isn't going to last forever. He isn't clinical. Once Giroud is back, I think Arsenal potentially a better team with Giroud up there and then Sanchez out left. But, when the going's good, jump on board.
Yeah, again, just on that again.
Hey, I'm speeding through. Sorry,
7.8 million, which is a very very tempting price. Selected by just over 14% of players of managers. So less than Hazard. Hazard's over that. It's a good alternative, isn't it? I'm going to tell you, Quigliano, I've already put him in this week.
Yeah, I think he goes in for me as well.
I had to beat that price rise.
Probably at Hazard's expense, but that frees me up to do a few more plans. So we'll move on. Lukaku against Burnley. I think, he's coming good. He is proving that he's back amongst the goals. And I see that as trouble for Burnley. I really do. I think we could be looking at a hat-trick. Potential captain shout, really, if you want to claw back some points.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to retract the hat-trick statement. I don't like predicting how many, but I do predict him he's going to be doing well this week.
Just getting slightly overexcited there. But again, like you say, he's scoring the goals for Everton. I think he scored 4. He scored in 4 of his last 5 games, and one of those was a hat-trick. So he's right up there with the best at the moment. But he's obviously he's going to get selected by teams, so the differential's not there. But you've got to go where the form is, I think, with that one definitely. So have we got any more for it?
We've got some more. It depends whether you're going to just continue to add on 5 minutes to each one of these speedy side tips. Dimitri Payet, easy fixture, quality player. I think West Ham turned Sunderland over. They're looking hideous. My £4 million keeper in Pickford is only getting points based on the amount of saves he's having to make. So that's danger. This one is a bit of a sticky neck out. Chadley, I'm not 100% convinced that a fixture against Liverpool is the week to put him in. However, he has proved that he can score against the good teams. And he's the main real attacking threat for West Brom. So I like him. I think he's probably worth a punt. Also, KDB, he's missed a penalty, but he was looking so dangerous before he picked up that knock. And I think a team without him in is potentially... Well, you're worried. You're going to be very worried when they play. So I think get KDB in. And the final one is a question is, are you brave enough to put in the Welsh Pele, Joe Allen? In form, performing well in a Stoke team that we think is horrendous. What are you going to do? Have you got the guts to put him in? He's a 0.5 side tip. Are you going to round up or are you going to keep it as a no? There we go.
Yeah, I'll answer the question there, Quigliano. I'm absolutely gutted on the Joe Allen one because I had him in right from the start of the season. I tipped him at the start, thought he was going to have a good one, and Stoke just stumbled out of the blocks. Well, they barely got out of the blocks, didn't they? And now he's starting to come good. I think it's 4 goals in 3 games. So,
well, I mean, I've just given him a new name as well because he actually is known as the Welsh Perlo, isn't he? But I think I said the Welsh Pele, similar to the Romford Pele in Ray Parlour, but
yeah.
Whose autobiography I have read, a decent read. So, it's all linked in nicely.
It all links in. Are you on commission for that as well?
Me and Ray have got a little something going on, but I can't say too much about that.
Deal. You're the ghostwriter, aren't you? Okay. No, I like that set of side tips. And just going back to KDB as well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. You're worried if you haven't got him in your team. If it was the week before he got injured, it was the point. It got to that point where everyone was saying KDB has to be in your team. He's going to be the star performer midfielder this season. So. Again, I've got to back you on that, Quigliano. I think he has to go in. Although, I do agree with what he said. I think people will sort of shy away from him because of that penalty miss last week. So this week in particular could be a top one to get him in.
Indeed.
Okay, so Quigliano, we talked about it at the top of the show, and I think people have probably hung on through all of that to listen to the answer. I'm going to go back to Matt Smith and his question. And he wants to know which, and I'm intrigued to know as well because I have no idea what you're going to say. But which footy players do you most resemble looks-wise? So I think that's open to anyone. So,
I mean, there's a few players that stand out. It wasn't too much. I mean, yourself, Mills, you won't be offended if you're very similar to Attilio Lombardo. Would you agree with that?
You mean I've got no hair?
No, I was on about facial features, but why is Lombardo bald, is he?
Who's that referee as well? Kalina.
Yeah, a mix between the two, though. Really.
Steve Bowles, do you want to throw him into the mix?
If you've been drinking, then definitely Kalina. A sober Mills, Attilio Lombardo. Cultured player as well, so very complimentary.
Okay.
I think Cliff, I think he'll probably appreciate this. Probably a cross between Peter Beardsley and Steve Ogrizovic. And I think he'd be really happy with that. So,
I mean, if people don't know who these people are, you've just got to get on Google Images. I mean, it's a great laugh.
Showing my age, yeah. Showing my age.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some youngsters out there who've got no idea who these names are that you're throwing out. But I like that. So, I mean, I'm almost scared to ask about JP.
JP's a tough one. Okay, handsome by nature. As that picture that was drawn of JP a couple of seasons ago, last season, was testament to that. He, frame-wise, if you shrunk Peter Crouch down to 5'3", then he would shrink everything down. So think about his arms, his legs; they'd be incredibly skinny. That is JP's frame, with the facial features of Lee Bowyer. I would probably compare those two. So that's kind of JP there.
Oh, that's brilliant. Have you got one for yourself?
I mean, I don't think I can. I don't think I can for myself. Okay. I think the immortal. It's best to just let people's thought process do that themselves.
Just go to @Sushant20 on Twitter and check out his GIFs. He's got plenty of you on there, I think.
Precisely.
I have got an accurate one for you, actually, which is for anyone in the UK, the BBC Breakfast Sports presenter. I think his name's Mike Bushell. The most famous thing he ever did was wet himself on live TV. So a few similarities there, Quigliano.
Yeah, and I think I'll take it on the chin. Okay,
nothing compared to what I think you've just put out there. So Interesting stuff. Okay, Quigliano, we're coming towards the end of the standard podcast. Not really any sort of FPL related questions this week. We'll stick to that in the podcast extra. But I think you've raised plenty of it for us to think about this week.
Yeah, I think the beauty of this season, there's loads and loads. There's not many templates out there at the minute. They're not quite fully finished. I see a lot of my, Aguero's in most teams. Lukaku is in most. Costa, people who've jumped on Costa have reaped the rewards. But that third striker position, is open. I've got Benteke. He's been scandalled by a penalty. But then there's Charlie Austin as options. People have got Jermaine Defoe in there. Some are sticking the neck out on Janssen. There's plenty to sort of to cause distraction, and that means that there's differences in points. And I think the one thing is that fourth midfielder spot, the cheap fourth midfielder. You like maybe 6 million bracket with your Redmonds, Allen, Chadley, Stanislas, Fur, Snodgrass, Iwobi. There's so many choices there that there is no template, and the tips are actually a bit harder to call this year. You kind of have to trust that gut, as we've called it, but you've also got to look at the fixtures and see maybe where's it heading, where are the points heading.
Okay, and I'm glad you brought up the gut, because I'm going to be getting your thoughts on Sushant's new feature for us, which is going to be called Gut It Out.
We need to get Sushant, get your details across.
He's got to get
you on a Skype.
We've got to get him on a Skype. We've got to. It's just got to happen. I mean, I think he puts more work into these podcasts than we do, so he's got to be on there. Quigliano, it's been short and sweet. I love the fact that you're back. We will get Cliff and JP hopefully on air with us next week. But that's time out for the standard pod. We're going to go into podcast extra now. If you're not a member, go to fantasyfootballtips.co and sign up there. We'll see you in a second.
It's time to go deep. It's time for the podcast extra.